Let's talk about neck pain. Let's figure out where it's coming from and how you can start fixing it. Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Colby, Doctor of Physical Therapy. Neck pain is one of the most common types of things that I see in the clinic, and something that we need to differentiate is figuring out what the culprit is, because sometimes it can be a joint mechanics issue, or it can be because of a lack of muscle function or overactive muscle function in certain muscles that don't need to be doing that. An easy way to figure that out is to go through some neck range of motion, and based on which motions hurt, that's going to tell us if it's muscle or joint related. The first one I want you to do is to sit up nice and tall and look up towards the ceiling. If that motion is painful and there's a specific spot on your neck, let's say like right here, that is painful, then that's a joint restriction. Because the muscles that would usually cause neck aching are not stretched out when you're looking up towards the ceiling, so that shouldn't cause any pain. What I want to check out next is looking down towards your chest. Next, we're going to rotate to each side. So look to your left and look to your right. Two more motions we need to check. Take your right ear and try to move it to your right shoulder without this shoulder shrugging up. See what that feels like, and then we're going to do the same thing to the left. Throughout those last few, if you had pain that's specific to a certain point and it doesn't feel like it's an entire aching, it's more pinpointed, that is most likely a joint restriction. If it's more general aching and pain in the upper shoulder areas, especially if the pain is on the opposite side that you're rotating or bending towards, then that's most likely a muscle issue. We're going to start with the joint restriction. So those bumps that you feel all the way along your spine, think about it like this, something bony that you can feel right in the center. Now on our spine, we have two more bumps that jut out to the sides. When I look down, they go forward like this. When I look up towards the ceiling, they both go back. When I look to my left, the left one slides back and the right one slides forward, okay? And then it's the opposite from when I look to the right. Right goes back, left goes forward. When I bend like this to the side, it does the exact same thing. So when I take my left ear to my left shoulder, my left is sliding back and my right's going forward. Then when I take my right ear to my right shoulder, my right's going back and my left's sliding forward. Now why does that matter? Because we need to know which joint is limited and in which spot. I'm going to use an example of my left side. So when I'm looking at my left, my joints are trying to move like this, but something is getting caught and I'm feeling pain on that left side. So now I know that the left side might be limited with that going back motion. How do we fix it? So I need to somehow press this joint to make it do this motion. Because our joints are deep in our neck, it wouldn't make much sense for me to try to push my left side back because I would have to dig way in here, and that's just not going to feel good at all. But what I can do is press forward on the right side from the back, meaning I can press here forward and it's going to push this one to help this one move further. We're going to do it with a towel. So I want you to take a towel and roll it up like this. You're going to place it on that back side of your neck. You can either hold it like this or cross arm it. I want you to try to situate that towel on your neck right on the level that's painful. So if it's a little higher on the neck that's painful, set it up a little higher. If it's lower, then set it a little lower. So I'm going to turn to my left and I'm going to be trying to push the right side forward. So how would I do that? I'm taking my right arm, I'm gaining tension on this towel, and I'm pulling as I turn my head and then back. So as I'm turning, I'm pulling that right side forward. My left side is just stabilizing. Left here and then back. If we're doing this right, that should really, really help. I'm talking that might even take away the pain completely and you might be able to go farther. If it's not, if it didn't change it at all, that means you're probably not in the right spot. So you can adjust, wiggle it around, try a few, try different situations, but until you find the spot where it feels good, and then boom, you found it. Cool thing about joints is they just need a little bit of feedback, and it doesn't take long before they start moving better on their own. So for example, you can do this like 4 to 5 times a day throughout your day for 20 reps. And just make sure each one is pain-free and you're really on that correct spot and moving. And then I guarantee you in a week or two, that thing is going to start feeling way better with a lot less restriction and pain. Okay, so that scenario was for rotation, but what if I really only have the pain with looking down and it feels like a joint? You can do that exact same thing, but instead of pulling with one side, you just pull with both. So you give some tension, you're looking down and pulling as you go. Another thing you can do, well, what if I only get the pain looking up? Give a little bit of tension and then look up. I know it sounds counterintuitive because you're supposed to be sliding back as you go, and that seems like it's trying to push the joints forward. But what you could do is go right above the spot where the pain is, and what that does, it's pretty cool, is it pulls the one above it forward, which then helps the one below it where the pain and restriction is slide back with less restriction because the top portion isn't inhibiting it anymore. So you go right above the pain, here, tension on both sides, and you're looking up towards the ceiling, pulling a little bit with it as you go. All right, so let's say that yours was a joint restriction. If so, like I said, I want you to do that snag technique, which is what that's called, a few times a day, every day, until that pain starts to just go away. Sometimes it takes people a few days, sometimes it takes a few weeks, but if that is what's going on and that exercise feels good in the moment, then it's going to work in the long run. Hey guys, I'm gonna jump in real quick. So I was editing this video together and it was getting way too long. So what I'm gonna do is split up this in half. So we just did all of that cervical spine stuff. For the second half of this video, where I talked about the upper trap and the levator scapula, I'm gonna make that a separate video. So when I'm done with that, I'll post it over here right on the side so that you can go watch it immediately following this one. If you like this video, I'd love it if you would subscribe. It helps my channel grow to help more people like you who might be dealing with pain. All right guys, I'll see you over at that next one. Bye.